On our last day, which was our 5th day, we first went to the South Tenet Farmers Museum. It was about 8:53. There, it was built in an old gas station, which a former member owned, which I believe was a founding member, if I remember correctly. It contained like these art and sketches from some kind of college student. It had displays that gave off information about, like, it defined what a sharecropper is, a tenant farmer, told about historical events. They had a video, which, because I believe a movie, but it was like a retelling of the form, like kind of like the story of the formation of the union, what led to them forming, and then kind of some of the stuff they did, like how they shared information and stuff like that. It also actually had some of their old equipment on the wall, which I presume it's from that time period. I would hope a museum is honest like that. And basically what it came down to is they wanted better pay, which I understand. They, I think at most they would have to give like about half, if not more, of their money or crops. The money was usually like a fixed rate, like every so often, and then crops, so they take like half at harvest. And for them, for the I think it was the sharecroppers who didn't own the equipment, they could have their equipment, like, it was a specific machine, could just be taken from them without like a reasonable rate, or being sold at a reasonable rate, which is a little crazy. The landowners engaged in a lot of racist and gross activity. They did flog, and I doubt they lynched any white people. I don't think I read that anywhere, but they would hurt and maim white people and then like kill black people mostly, because that's kind of like how the source of it is, like getting this like pseudo newish slavery for the time. It was the new slavery of the time period. And it'd be like the landowners and their friends, all white people. It was a mix of cops and stuff like that, keeping the status quo. They had like 40,000 members at most in their time period, and there was a book of like the women members, because they had women in leadership positions, which was really cool for the time period. And it had both black and white members, like people of color could join them. And I mean, I presume as people of color, I doubt they would, you know, not let like an Indian person in, an indigenous person, stuff like that. But I guess who knows for the time period. Our second and last place we went to was the Plum Bayou Mounds, which had a small facility, which had like displays, artifacts. It talked about the people that lived there, what they would have used. There was nearby areas as like tribes as well. And the site's believed to be a ceremonial site. From what they can tell is all the mounds were built so that at certain times of the year when the sun would set, it would indicate we need to plant this, we need to do this party, have the like ceremonies and harvests and stuff like that. The people there, we don't know anything about them because they didn't have a written language. For them, we call them the Plum Bayou. The name that was originally assigned them was the Toltec, even though Toltecs were never in that area. But it has since been changed, which is a lot better. And kind of unfortunately, which they did leave luckily before or prior to the arrival of colonizers, who would have wreaked havoc. And probably still did it to them. They were just probably in a different area at the time period. Maybe had a different culture, language. They evolved in some way. But the colonizers that went to the Plum Bayou Mounds, they destroyed some of the mounds, from what I could tell and from what I read. There were grave robbers. Artifacts got destroyed by the people who were settling there permanently, because it did switch, I think, hands like 2 or 3 times. But the people who settled there permanently planted cotton, which from like the signs suggested like it caused some damage. I don't think it said specific damage. Probably the structural damage to the mounds or whatever. But luckily it is being preserved now. And that's all. This was actually a short video. Bye.